Hi guys, Bruce here. Well, another snowblower has come in. This one has been sitting around, the customer says. And so we're just going to do a preliminary check. You can, pardon me, you can do this a lot of different ways, as long as you do it all before you try and start it. So first we're going to just check to see how clean the fuel is. It looks pretty good. Amazingly good. Alright, I'm going to check the oil. The oil's right up. And you know what? I think we're going to see if we have a spark. Just one second. Now these induction type spark detectors aren't perfect, but they give you a pretty good idea, especially on a machine that hasn't been used very much. On this machine, the skids on the bottom, let's see, the skids right there aren't scraped off at all, so this machine doesn't have a lot of hours on it. I think it's about a 2005. So let's just hook this up in series with the spark plug and we'll see if it's got a spark. So there's our spark detector. There's the spark plug lead, spark detector, spark plug. So now, for those of you, oh, I'm so sorry, don't get dizzy. For those of you who live in the south part of the world where you don't get a lot of snow, the starters on snowblowers are just electric. They don't have a battery, which saves on alternators and it saves on battery weight. And I think there's the starter right there. And they plug into just an AC switch type guy like this. So if we have a spark, we should see a flicker right there. And that's about as much time as you should give these starters because they heat up. So anyway, yes, we have a spark. So now in just a second I'm going to get a little dish and we're going to drain some gas out of the carburetor. This carburetor has the little button release for fuel. So I'll be right back and well, first of all I'll show you. I'm not quite ready, but right up underneath right up underneath here, right there, where's the nut? There it is. Right there, there's a little button release for fuel. So I'll get some of that and we'll show you how what that looks like. I have no idea yet, eh? So I'll be right back. Alright guys, look at that. That is the gas that came out of the carburetor. So I think the person that tried to get this going filled it with new gas, but didn't know about that little button on the carburetor. I think I'll get my flashlight and I'll show you where that little button is. Just hang on. Where's my flashlight? Alrighty. So let's see. Do you see up there? On that button right there, that's the button that drains the fuel. And it looks kind of green and scungy right there. See that fuel dripping out? Alrighty, so that carburetor was full of old fuel. Be right back. Okay, so I'm going to drain some more gas out of there. And we'll see if it looks any better. I drained out some while I had the camera on. Whoop. Give it a good purge. when you shut these off in the springtime, this is what you're supposed to do, is turn the gas valve from the tank off. Yeah, that looks a little bit better. It still looks cruddy, but it looks a little bit better. So now, we have spark. We have better fuel to the carburetor. We'll take the spark detector off, and we'll give it another try. Okay, full tilt, throttle. Okay, there's one more trick. I'm going to take the spark plug out and just put a little bit of gas in the cylinder. This is my gas oil mixture. You guys have seen this before. It's just gas with 5 or 10% oil in it. You squirt a little bit of that right into the hole of the spark plug. Now it'll fire. If it doesn't fire now, we've got something wrong. Excuse me. Sorry. Okay, it's got to fire now. Good. That's it. Okay. So it looks like we're going to do a carb clean, but I'm going to do it without taking the whole carburetor off. We'll see if that works. So let's get set up on the bench, and we'll get I'll show you what I'm going to do here. It might work. Alright, so now I'm going to take this cover off, and we'll just keep taking bolts off until it comes off. This muffler, for those of you who don't work on snowblowers much, this muffler actually heats this area up to heat the air coming into the carburetor, and snowblowers don't have air filters on them. When it's 10 below, the air is as clean as you're ever going to get. And yes, my furnace is running, but that is a necessity at this time of year. So there's one there. Ah, it's a screw. I thought it was a connector. There's a wire here to shut the motor off. There. So there's a wire right there, and you just disconnect the screw and pull it up. Good. So here's our carburetor. Oh, okay. And look at this, folks. The primer button has fallen, or what do you call this? The primer tube is pulled off the carburetor. So we'll just snip that off and reconnect it when we're done. So now we got to get, I'm not going to take the whole carburetor off, guys. I'm just going to, just to see, maybe save us a little bit of work. I'm going to just take the bowl off by removing the power jet screw, the bowl, and also the idle screw, which is right here. Yeah, right. It's right there. And there. And we'll take those 3 things off and see if we can get this carburetor cleaned up without taking it off the machine. Usually it's 7/16 on that power jet. And we're going to need to soak up some fuel. And there we go. And it's leaking. Oh, this one has this machine has a gas shut off. And if the customer would have used that right off the bat, we wouldn't have this problem, right? I'm going to get my ugly little container here. Okay, so that looks pretty scungy. Scungy, is that an adjective? Oh, there's smokes. It's growing on. There we go. Okay. Let's just bring you right over here. So that just needs to be cleaned up. That's why it smelled like a duck swamp when I drained out the gas out of that. Might as well get the float out too. That's just a pin. Usually I take the carburetor off, but on this one I thought, we'll just try. Oh, there we go. We'll just try and clean everything up by leaving the carburetor on. These Tecumsehs are pretty forgiving. Now I think the seat's okay because it's not leaking fuel as it sits, right? And now we can flush a little bit of gas through there. There we go. And let's remove the idle circuit screw. This machine might be older than a 2005. Now I need my little pick. There it is. Hopefully I can show you this. So right there, you see that washer? That black washer right there? That's what I'm going to trying to take out. And it's there. So that's it. I'm going to take some carburetor cleaner now and spray it into the idle circuit. Good news. And I think we're going to put a new seal on this carburetor too. Bowl seal. See that? So the one thing I do want to do is shoot some gas up into the emulsion tube. Carburetor spray. So this is my modified little guy, and I can shoot up. Maybe. Arr. That's what my dad does. Arr. Open choke. Clean a little bit in there. That's a good sound, eh? I think that'll do it. Okay, let's get these parts cleaned up. They're not that bad.